You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box. Welcome to the Shoulder Strikes MMA Podcast. You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box. Welcome to the Shoulder Strikes MMA Podcast. You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Shoulder Strikes MMA Podcast, fresh off of a UFC 291, which had a ton of highlight reel finishes and moments and events and everything under the sun you could imagine. My name is Matt McSweeney. I'm joined by Capone. Did you enjoy the show Saturday night? There was a lot that went on that we talked about before, and there's a lot that we have to discuss right now.
Yeah, too much almost at the same time. The co-main event, which ended up being the snooze fest of the night, which was, I don't think anybody saw that coming.
No.
Happening at the same time as Spence Crawford, which ended up being non-competitive, which I think nobody else saw coming. But, I mean, we saw there was a lot that I guess we didn't see coming, right? The Justin knockout, the Bobby Green arm triangle of Tony Ferguson. There was a lot, man. There was honestly, we got the night started off with an armbar in the third round. There was 9 finishes of the 11 fights, a split, a unanimous, I think like 4 or 5 subs. It was pretty much Sub City. And another head kick knockout, headline Salt Lake City. What are you going to, I mean,
the same
it's got to be
combo sort of thing, but
it's got to be the head kick capital of the world. There was 2 on Saturday night. And then obviously, there's only been 5 head kick knockout main events in UFC history. Can you name them?
No.
Can you name any of them?
I don't know if I could name even one.
Well, Dustin and Justin,
and obviously Kamaru and Leon. But
Holly Holm.
Oh, wow, yeah, okay.
Ronda Rousey, come on. And then Anderson Silva Vitor.
Okay.
Matt Hughes, GSP.
He front kicked him in the face.
When GSP sent Matt Hughes into the shadow realm of oncoming trains with that nasty head kick. But yeah, history was made. There was some Bellator and Risen that didn't really live up to the billing. Of course, if one fight card had to fall flat on its face, it was going to be Bellator and Risen.
Yeah. I don't think that's too
There was
crazy.
an eye poke in the co-main event. Also, I didn't know they had 2 cards going on at the same time, so that's where I was confused. But there was already enough with UFC and boxing at the same time. Nonito Donaire, we saw him get pretty much sent to retirement. A bunch of older guys. We have Jake Paul next week, so it's kind of like a very historic, legendary night. It was, I would say.
And it started. Well, I mean, it ended, but we are going to start off with Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier for the BMF title. I guess I'd like to just talk about. Obviously, the fight ends in the highlight reel, just bomb of a head kick, kind of lands on his neck and just shuts his body down. I mean, and it's crazy how the head kick was thrown kind of from right in front of him. Like there was really not a setup or a ton of space in between them, and he just dropped that bomb on him, and it seemingly came from out of nowhere. But I guess I'll ask you, what did you think of the fight? I guess the first round pretty much is what we could talk about. It looked like it was setting up for another all-time classic, just the way that the exchanges were happening, and I think Dustin was getting the upper hand in the first round. Did the judges drop those scorecards, and do we know?
Yeah, two of them had a 10-9 Dustin. Junichiro, your boy, had a 10-9 Justin.
Okay.
The first round was pretty close.
I thought so too.
I think Dustin was doing well, landing some straight lefts, and he started to really he was starting to find his rhythm. But I mean, Justin was doing really well with the low kick, something that we talked about before. Let's see, yeah, he hit 11 compared to Dustin's 2. He outstruck him at distance for the whole fight, 38-25.
Those inside leg kicks were nasty, man. They were in the first fight, and I'm glad he kind of was going to go back to them in this one.
Yeah, and this was pretty much all at distance, a little bit inside the clinch, and then obviously, I mean, they were so close when Justin hit him with the head kick that the shin and the foot just kind of wrapped around his guard and like behind the ear. And I mean, he had his hands up. He pretty much blocked some of it, but it didn't matter. That was just nasty, absolutely nasty. He folded, and then he got hit one more time for good measure. Herb Dean comes sliding in like Trey Turner,
hit him with the people's elbow. That was a good look. No, I mean,
it was good.
Well, that's what I saw a lot of people saying there shouldn't be a big shiny monster logo in the middle of the octagon, which is a fair point.
Probably should be 500 logos in the octagon, but obviously, it is what it is.
Yeah, Herb was trying to save that man's life because he got hit with a bomb, and no one expected. I'll tell you what, when I was watching it, I took Justin moneyline just because I needed something to bet, and I obviously took the fight to go the distance, which didn't play out the way I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
And I still argue if the head kick didn't happen, we were right in there. But maybe not my bet, one of my best bets. But I was looking for some value somewhere. I just was this completely caught me off guard. I did not expect a flatlining of either guy. Right, I expected somewhat similar to the last fight where guy gets hurt, and then the follow-up punches, and eventually someone finds something and gets him down, and but I expected the guy to be hurt first. This kind of just came from out of nowhere, and he just laid a bomb on him, and I was just there, like jaw hit the floor, couldn't believe what I was seeing, and it's exactly why we watch it though, man. Whether we have the right side or we don't, or me and you didn't really want to bet a side on this because it was kind of razor thin, and I did think that Justin was going to make some sort of adjustments of some sort to kind of I think he's made the bigger improvements since their last fight. Dustin obviously has made improvements, but from what Justin used to be to what he is now, he's such a much more refined and under control mixed martial artist compared to the tornado of a man that he used to be when he would go through the octagon and just kind of throw everything behind everything and just try to get people out of there. He's much more controlled, and that didn't really come into play so much in this one. It just kind of he landed that shot, and who would have thought before the fight said Justin Gaethje's going to land a head kick on this guy. I mean, I saw some guy on Twitter said he had a dream about it, which that guy should be checked by the government. But other than that, I mean, what a spectacle though. You got Jorge out in there putting the belt on the guy he didn't want to put the belt on. So it was
lost 100K on Dustin.
Yeah. It lived up to the hype, I would say. Just you get that highlight reel moment. The fight didn't go that long, but they don't always go that long. So I guess that's really not much to say other than I am just what a win for Justin Gaethje. He's going to be next after Oliveira and Islam, and for Dustin, like you kind of said before the show, I think he doesn't want to fight any up and comers, so you really don't know what is next for him, right? What does he do after this? Does he go and fight one of those Chandlers or somebody like that? Does that interest you?
I mean, they already fought, right?
Yeah.
Chandler got rear naked choked.
Yep.
So that was Chandler's last fight. Yeah, he's lost to both of these guys. Lost to Oliveira. So it's like, what can you really do with Michael Chandler? His best win's Tony Ferguson, and obviously we'll get to the corpse of Tony Ferguson soon. But I think ever since that Tony Ferguson fight with Justin Gaethje is when we've seen a new version of him. Very patient, relaxed. Other than Cowboy, right after that Cowboy win, I think is when he kind of settled into the newest version of himself. Only losing to Khabib and Oliveira. But, if he's striking with anybody, I think he's probably one of the best, if not the best. We just saw it with Dustin, you know what I mean? So that comeback win against Fiziev, that was impressive. He didn't gas himself out or throw himself out against Chandler. So, I guess the title's next for him. And I don't really think he's going to beat Islam.
I don't see how that happens.
Or Charles. Like, I just, I think they have such easy paths to victory. I mean, they could probably strike with him too, but I think if Islam took him down, if Oliveira took him down, it's pretty much game over. But regardless, it's still fun to see the highlight. I mean, ever since he's come in the UFC, I mean, I think he has more performance bonuses than fights. Somebody said so. Not really much. It's funny. The co-main and main were kind of flip flopped. I feel like a lot of people thought the main would go longer and the co-main would end early. And it's funny also, though, for the whole entirety of the card, I guess the co-main didn't really have any moments, and other than the knockout in the main event, the main event didn't really, it only went 6 minutes long, so there's not much to talk about in either the main or co-main event, in my opinion, anyway. I feel like there's much more to talk about in the whole, Derrick Lewis, Bobby Green, Kevin Holland, some of the subs on the prelims. So
I got to say, though, I guess we can transition into that co-main event. Alex Bejeda and Jan Blachowicz, 15-minute unanimous decision, or split decision, I'm sorry, victory for Alex Bejeda. I thought it should have been unanimous. I think it was a pretty easy Alex winning the 2 and 3 of the rounds, and the first one was just kind of a backpack sort of, dominant grappling round for Jan, but it seemed like he used a lot of energy early on in that fight, in that round, and he was using everything he had to kind of hold on to that backpack, and it just eventually, you could just tell he had nothing for him on the feet, and Alex, it seemed like, was in the much better shape, and you could tell the weight cut and the move up to 205 is the right choice because he is a much more, I guess he just looks better in there than he did at 85. He looked sort of just withering away, and obviously he's cutting a crazy amount of weight to make that 85-pound weight class. 205, he looked full. He looked like he could actually grapple with people and that he wasn't going to gas out immediately, and it's just. I was very impressed with him at 205. I agree with you. The fight itself was kind of, I guess not. I wouldn't say boring. It was just not what we expected, and we expected much more fireworks from that matchup when you labeled it beforehand. I guess this is kind of a case too where Jan is just kind of cooked, and honestly, there is a conversation that needs to be had for him because he although he did win the championship, he kind of just. You would argue lucked into it, right? He kind of backed his way into a championship opportunity when Jones goes up to 205 and there's kind of just a power vacuum there, and he beats Dominic Reyes to win the title. So it's, I don't know.
It was a good win, I guess. The Rockets fight ended by injury. The ankle line draw should have been a loss. So he has kind of had some decent luck. He is 39, almost 40? No, he is 40. So, I don't really know what's next for him. I think they just announced Ankalaev and Johnny Walker. So that's going to be,
that's going to be wild.
That's going to be a quick Ankalaev knockout. But I guess anything can happen, right? So I don't know what you even do with Jan Blachowicz next. Maybe you give him Rakic again. Maybe you give him... I don't know. I guess Yuri and Alex next for the belt makes sense. Yuri says he's pretty much good to go, 100%. His shoulder feels like a superpower now. That's kind of terrifying to hear. But I'm all for that. I don't think Yuri could get wrestling. The thing we've seen with Yuri is he's very wild in scrambles, and he kind of just muscles out. I don't know, man. Him and Alex Pereira would be a great fight. He's a lot more quicker, I would say, than Alex, but Alex has some nuclear power. He was kind of holding back this fight. I feel like that's very indicative of the quick turnaround from getting absolutely flatlined just a couple months ago. I feel like he had Jan against the cage a couple times, especially at the end of round 2, and he was kind of just being patient, but being a little too patient because he knows just because you have somebody backed up against the cage does not mean that you cannot get floored, as evidence is the rematch with Izzy. So. He was being a little careful, a little calculating. He landed like 77% of it, 76% of his significant strikes, 83 in the third round. So, I don't know how you don't get in the third round or the second round, really.
Yeah, it didn't seem like much of a debate for me, and I was shocked when a man like Junichiro, a judge we would put in our top 5, we respect that man's scorecards compared to some of these clowns that are out there, given these judging decisions on a weekly basis. I don't know how you give him that third round. I thought he got kind of pieced up on the feet, and
he got that one takedown at the very, very end, but he
was too
landed
late.
about 4 strikes on the ground. He also took a couple. So it's like, what did he really do with that? The striking effectiveness was all Alex in that round. He threw less punches and landed more. I mean, what more do you really want? Also, did you see Pereira after the fight in the locker room eating chicken fingers with his gloves on?
Electric.
Oh my God.
He's
so
unlike
funny.
anyone else, man.
And he didn't take any damage. Like, he looked fine. Yeah, his cardio
He took a couple
held
punches.
up.
He looked good.
Yeah, his face looked good. His cardio looked good. His takedown defense looked good. He almost 3 of 8. He worked. I mean, the first round was a bit tough, right? But after that, he worked his way up. He went for a guillotine. Even that wasn't obviously close to coming to being in. But when you're that big and strong, I mean, sometimes you can pull off some of those kind of submissions. So he's definitely working on his craft. He's definitely getting better. I just I don't know how long his shelf life is, really, obviously. But at light heavyweight, we don't know how long anybody's is. So.
Exactly. They're all older. They're all huge. Yeah, exactly.
Might be cooked.
Anything,
injury,
Yeah, anything can happen, dude.
Anything. Johnny Walker might hold this belt at the end of 2023. That terrifies me. But
no way.
No way. Maybe 24 though. Maybe 24
what
though.
What if they did make Johnny Walker
him and his brother, both holding belts.
Johnny Walker and Poatan just running the UFC now. No, I can't even joke about that. That's not even funny. I actually think Johnny Walker could beat Ankalaev, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, Ankalaev's been finished before. He's been knocked out before, right?
If he goes for those takedowns and starts getting hit with bomb elbows.
Yeah. Listen, dude, takedown defense against the cage, elbows. That's what you got to do. That's the Johnny Walker way of life. Or just like flying knees.
Yeah. Just wildness. And that's one way to win. I don't know if it's kind of something you can count on happening, but
you can catch him walking down the street in his fight gear at this very moment.
How about Derrick Lewis, man? I wish we would have just kind of taken a shot in the dark and knew that something like this was going to happen. Obviously, I
didn't know he was going to have a 6-pack, right?
And I didn't know he was going to run off with a flying knee to start the fight. That's fucking insane. And he came out.
He went for the record.
Yeah.
He went for Masvidal's record. He almost got it, too. At first, I thought he didn't land it. I thought it was kind of like momentum or glance. That fucking caught him clean.
Yeah.
Thanks for showing up, Mr. Rogerio Dolina. I think the only strike he landed was right after that. He was on his back. He threw like a hammer fist from the back, and it landed. But after that, yeah, he was done. I wish we got to see something else, but big win for Derrick Lewis. I just don't know what he does next. I saw somebody say he should fight Jelton Almeida. That would not go well. That would not go well. Also, Jelton Almeida is fighting Curtis Blades coming up soon anyway, so yeah, we don't want to see that.
Almeida is fighting elite prospect. Like, he's trying to get himself in a title situation. He's not trying to fight the fucking Black Beast and just hold him down and just smother him. I guess I did see some people saying Derrick Lewis and Francis Ngannou in PFL was another thing. I'm pretty sure Ariel Helwani said that, which, I don't care for that either way. You do it or don't do it. It does not matter to me whatsoever. But I guess it was awesome. It was fun. I wish I could have made some money off of it somehow. But I am glad now that I stayed away from this because it just too volatile, man. Too volatile. Good for Derrick Lewis though. It was awesome. Him taking the pants off, doing the fucking DX suck it chop. It was crazy. He was getting. You could tell he was actually fired up because he needed a win badly, and he gets a highlight reel. And his contract's over, so now he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah, I think he's definitely coming back.
Yeah, I agree.
But you know what that means? We get more opportunities to fade him, so I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's we'll see. I mean, if he shows up with a 6-pack every time, maybe this is we'll have to bet him against guys who look like the Jolly Green Giant and stuff like that, which is
you give him Parker Porter. I'm absolutely hammering Parker Porter. So
all right, let's just keep it moving then. How about Bobby Green, Tony Ferguson? Bobby Green got dropped, so that's all I choose to remember about this fight is that Bobby Green got dropped, and then I poked the shit out of Tony Ferguson, who then claimed that it was on purpose that he did it, which I'm not so sure about that. But I will say the eye poke, I always base it off of Tony Ferguson being a psychopath, and if Tony Ferguson is blinking out an eye poke for like a minute and 32 minutes, that means that thing had to be pretty fucking bad. So I wish I wish they would. Not that it would have mattered in this fight, but I do wish that they would take points away from really bad eye pokes, because they seem to affect fights for long. Like that doesn't necessarily go away in the time that they give them, 5 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
Some guys are just not. They're not wired that way to take that time and not just rush back in there and go, oh, yo, we're ready to go. And I know Ferguson took some time here, and he was cooked anyway, but. I just, as a generality, I just wish that the eye pokes were treated a little bit more serious and they were a little bit more heavy with the point taking away, because then people wouldn't do it.
Yeah, or just fix the glove
Yeah.
issue, but that's something they probably will never do. Shout out to The Rock. There was also a nasty, I think, eye poke in the Vergara Salvador fight where Vergara said, "I can't fucking see right now." I was like, "Oh no, don't say that." But Mr. Dave Celestat said, "Oh, we're good, everyone fight." And I was like, "Whew." Thought they were going to end the fight with that one, but yeah, I saw Ferguson, pretty much saying, using that as an excuse as why he lost.
And then says, no, this isn't an excuse. It's like, well, I don't know about that.
Yeah, not to make any excuses, but
here's five.
He also says he's not done. I think, I mean, if he loses, let's say he has another fight with fucking some. Beneil Dariush, not even Beneil Dariush.
No.
I'm trying to think of somebody at 155 that's like a little bit down, because I mean, you're going to have to go down for Bobby Green. Bobby Green's not young. Bobby Green doesn't tap guys out like Bobby Green doesn't. Yeah, right. A legacy fight. I guess
that's what he's at, dude.
Jim Miller would probably tap him and put him to sleep. In my opinion,
then it's over. But then you'll know.
But if he does fight again in the UFC and loses again, he will tie BJ Penn for the longest losing streak in UFC history at 7. So I mean, like, seriously, who do you give him? Like Benoit Saint-Denis? Like, come on.
No.
You'd have to give him Claudio Puelles or like Rafa Garcia or Clay Guida, guys that he could probably beat. Well, maybe that he could beat, because he looks like, he just looks so bad, so slow. I mean, dude, he was not even trying to block a punch. I mean, he was, but with his face, like 63% of Bobby Green's significant strikes landed. That's an insane number for the amount he threw. He's 137 of 217. Like, that's crazy. Crazy. He was mixed up to the body a little bit, to the legs a little bit. Tony just didn't care. It seemed like he just, he couldn't get a takedown. He got dominated. He got put to sleep by Bobby Green. Bobby Green has some subs on his record, but like he was like plus 1,000 to win by sub. Just got down every round. Just got absolutely doubled and tripled up, and I don't really think there's any reason to see him fight anymore. But I'm sure he will.
Yep.
So that sucks.
I echo everything you said. It's sad at this point, because he's a guy who put on some great shows and some great moments and some great fights. He's just not that guy anymore, and you can tell every time he gets in there, it's just not the same. But what can you do? I'm fighting for my life not to sneeze right now. But Kevin Holland, this was I wouldn't say shocking, but I guess it was a little surprising how dominant he seemed in this fight. I guess we had a little bit more respect for Chiesa than we, I guess, should have, because Kevin Holland seems to be a perfect build for this 170 division, barring that the guy he's fighting isn't a Russian or some superior wrestling dominant grappler. Other than that, he's so big, he's so long, he's not easy to be taken down. Chiesa had a couple of good body locks and things of that nature, but the fact that Kevin Holland was not only up against the fence, but so goddamn long, it was so easy or so hard for him to take him down. He could not get his legs out from underneath of him. He just kept recovering, and eventually he just in the clinch, he was hitting him with all sorts of shit, and then he hit him with that Darce, and that's what, 7, 8. How many fucking losses has Chiesa taken via Darce choke?
3. Luke Holland and Mr. Jorge Masvidal Darced them.
There you go.
It's funny. He predicted this.
He did.
He said, Kevin Holland likes Darces, and I've been Darce before. And then it happens.
Yeah.
I don't know. He looked like shit, man. He looked like, he's been off for a couple years. He looked like he's 35 years old. He had zero interest in trying to strike. He was like doing this, keep your guard high and tight and duck your head down so that you can avoid some strikes, and then maybe parlay that into a takedown. But that didn't work. He caught a knee, caught a couple knees, and then he caught a Dart stroke. Literally just put his neck out there. He has like this insane ability to get himself submitted. It's so crazy, but yeah, he looked terrible. And Kevin Holland looked great, but Kevin Holland also probably has to fight at 185, which diminishes his ceiling, at least for me.
Why did he? Why does he have? Like, why did he say that? Like, I don't get the.
I guess he's just too big.
It's like too much of a weight cut. I guess is that what he's saying? Like,
yeah, he pretty much said he's gonna. I don't know if he said sit or shit his black ass back to 185.
Yeah,
that's something. It sounded like
then he's gonna get cooked.
Yeah,
100%. Because those guys are too big for him. That's the thing. He's like the perfect build for that 170, and I know it's probably impossible for him to make. But I got now thinking about it, like there's a reason he's so huge. It probably does deplete him a lot. But I mean, guys like Vettori were having their way with you. Brunson, what are you gonna do there? You're just gonna be stuck right outside the top 15, and that's kind of how it's gonna be.
We shall see.
Yeah. I'm not. Let me just say that buying 70 stock, not buying 85 stock. Gabriel Bonfim, easy guillotine choke submission victory here, and this was about probably the easiest bet we had all night. Trevin Giles was always going to get subbed. Just didn't think it was going to happen this early. I thought he would have gotten severely hurt and then rear naked choked and that's it. But this was just kind of the inevitable. You kind of feel like a genius when shit plays out like this, but...
Loved it. If only we could have had, like, exact sub, and, we could have took guillotine, and that would have been a nice little profit there, but, obviously DraftKings, I don't think they even had it, but, dude, he's got a really tight guillotine. Like, he's a little wild on the feet. I do think he has some power, but he is a little wild and out of control, but... He's a problem, man. He is like Brian Ortega-like guillotine. He snatched that up, and I was like, man, maybe that's even a little too jump guillotine-ish. Maybe he jumped it too quick or it was too telegraphed, but it didn't matter, man. He had Trevin Giles completely locked up. So big win for Gabriel Bonfim. Dude, welterweight's shitting out some good prospects lately, man. They're showing up left and right and making big statements. I think Bonfim's only 25, so massive win. Maybe not a massive win looking back on it in a couple of years, but at this stage in his career, a huge performance. Did he get a 50K bonus? He did not. So that sucks. But what are you going to do?
What are you going to do, man? It's just... if
you're not on the main card, you're not getting the fucking...
Yeah, and if they don't respect the guy you just guillotined, which is basically... They're kind of telling you that they expect you to do this to Trevin Giles. So, CJ Vergara, you kind of made mention of him before. Unanimous decision victory over Vinicius Salvador. That guy, I don't know... I struggle to say anything good about that guy. He fights like an absolute asshole. Let me just say that. He just uses no IQ whatsoever. And he has this length, and he was kind of doing good things in this fight, but I don't know if he was tired or whatever, but he just doesn't... I think you may mention this before. It's like not enough action, man. It's just a whole lot of like... I think Rogan even said on the broadcast, which is one of the actual good things that he said, it just seems like he was like sparring. He wasn't trying to like... get this guy out of there or hurt or fighting with any sort of I don't even know what the word would be, urgency, I guess. It just didn't seem like it was like he was kind of just chilling. And that's why you lose when you fight a guy like CJ Vergara who just started to land. The later the fight went on, he won. I think it was 1-1 probably. And then it kind of that third round was dominant for CJ, so it was easy for the judges to give him that, but
the whole fight. I think it's because the first four ended inside the distance, but the whole most of this fight, they kept getting on both fighters about not trying to go for the knockout as much, and then they asked Dean Thomas, and Dean Thomas said the same thing, and they were going in on Vergara for not throwing with a lot of steam. I'm like, he's not a knockout artist. No. I mean, have you guys ever watched this fucking guy fight? Like. They made it seem like it was the most boring fight to ever grace the UFC. Meanwhile, it was the most active fight of any fight on the card. Like, there was the most strikes that were landed. I know it was one of only two fights that went the distance, so obviously the totals are going to be higher, but like there was a lot of strikes being thrown and landed in this fight. There just wasn't a knockout blow, which is fine. I mean, they're flyweights, you know what I mean? But it was just kind of crazy, man, that they were acting like, you got to go for this knockout, you bum. You got to do it now. I was like, the way they were talking, like, they must have had a fight. They must have all had a bet that this fight would not go the distance or something, is the way it seemed to me. But
it just seemed like they were just the fighters that being just kind of, I don't know, like they kind of, I don't know if it was whether they respected one another or they were just, it seemed like they were both also worried about gassing out, which I think was a kind of a thing that some people thought about and some people didn't on this card. And you saw the people who didn't, and Jan Blachowicz and guys like that, it just came back to bite them. They just gassed out completely towards the back half of these fights, and it's a real thing. It's a real factor. So I don't fault these guys for kind of taking it easy necessarily, but this fight itself, like you said, there was a lot of action just based off the fact that it went longer, and they were throwing, especially early on in the fight, they were throwing much more. And I'm just more mad.
Going low, going to the body.
Yeah, I just thought Salvador himself. I would not blame Vergara for this at all. I think Salvador was just walking forward with a lot of no action, and it forced Vergara to kind of fight off the back foot, throw the jab, and not really be able to sit on any punches and throw for power, because Salvador was just kind of hoping for him to kind of sit there and counter him with some sort of, I guess, looping left hand or something like that. I don't know. Salvador just was not, I don't know. Like, as long as he is, as rangy as he is, he just didn't really do much for me in this fight at all. It should have been something where he was able to get some serious offense off, and kind of, I thought he should have won. He should have been able to take over. He didn't throw much, with power, I would say. It didn't look like he was gassed, but maybe they were. Maybe they were, and we're just kind of,
I was.
I was gassed by this time. I had to go out and get another beverage, but I actually was not drinking beverages this Saturday. Let me just tell the truth. I had a couple waters. I did have one for the main event, but
Me and my father were pumping out Miller Lights and Michelob Ultras like it was nothing. So.
Hell yeah! Well, that's the way. That's the way you have to watch these fights, and then you get the most accurate representation of how you actually feel when you're watching it. You're like, "This fucking bum! This guy stinks!" You're like, in your head, you're like, "Yeah, dude, this guy would beat my fucking ass." Well, hey, man, that's what that's part of the fun. That's why we pay the money to watch these things, allegedly. But Roman Kopylov with a nasty sort of just unbelievably fast head kick landed on Claudio Ribeiro. This kind of went exactly how we thought it should have, but I mean, that was just an impressive way to finish a fight. Another head kick in Salt Lake City, baby. It just it was highlight reel, baby. That's all. That's basically all I can say. It's just another. We needed a TKO win for Kopylov and cashed us out, baby.
3 in a row after losing his first 2 in the UFC, so that's good to see. Also, all 3 finishes against 3, I don't want to say they're great opponents, but Di Hirico, Puna Soriano, Claudio Ribeiro, he's getting it done. He could have taken out Carl Roberson, but instead he got taken out. So good to see him, fighting better than he did when he first got here. He's definitely, when he goes for it, when he ups his volume, he's definitely exciting to watch. He has a bunch of power, a bunch of different strikes in his arsenal. Lands pretty much, a high percentage of his strikes. And our boy Claudio Ribeiro finally taking a dirt nap like we predicted. So
come on, man, that's just uncalled for, man. A dirt nap. So no, you're right though. I mean, Kopylov throws with power, intense, violent power. He's exciting to watch, and I cannot wait. But how about Jake Matthews? I had a couple buddies who had TKO. They were not happy with the way this played out.
Should have known.
But we should have known, baby. We kind of cashed out here.
Just saying.
Yeah, we both had sub.
Just saying. I told my dad. I said,
"Listen, you didn't put it on the card." Oh, you coward! You coward! I had plus 220 on the sub. Let's go. I'm just looking from 15 feet away at this sheet. I told
my dad he's going to sub him. He's like, "No, he's going for the knockout." I'm like, "Nope. There's going to be a chance he gets him, and easy work." As soon as he didn't even get a takedown. Really, it was just kind of a I don't even know how he got him to the ground, but he had a little ground and pound, and then he pretty much flopped over, gave him his back, and he took his neck. Darius Flowers honestly fought pretty well, I would say. I think he's a little wild. I don't know if he's UFC level caliber, but he goes for it. He definitely does that. He got his takedown on his own. So I think he can fight at welterweight a little bit. I think it was Joe Rogan's worst moment of the night when he was acting like the low blow didn't hit low, just because the toes of Jake Matthews hit him in the ribs, in the stomach area, but the heel hit him right in the square of the dick, and he was acting like it didn't hit him. And I don't know what the fuck Joe was watching.
Well, it's a kind of hey, you weren't he wasn't the only person, because the people I were with that had TKO where they were convinced, and I said, you know what, guys, I don't blame you. I would probably feel the same way if I had that, but I have submission, so I need them. So
suck it.
I need them to stand this up, and I need them to get back in there. But yeah, that's a good sneaky W for the boys. Even though you didn't put it on the card, I can't believe that.
I know. I don't know. I think I did. I think we should add it to it.
I'm gonna have to go back and do some research.
Review the tape.
Review the tapes. Film. But you probably said I don't trust Jake Matthews, which is not.
That's probably what I said.
How about Euros Medic, man? Now, I'm done. Not only am I done doubting Euros because he continually just makes me look stupid, I don't want to say never, but I'm never betting Matthew Semmelsberger ever again. He continually burns me over and over again. And I just, whether I'm fading him or, betting for him, it's just, when he beats the dog shit out of Jake Matthews, and I'm just like, all right, what? And then he comes back and he's, real close one to Jeremiah Wells, and then this one he kind of was, he got some shit off, but I don't know. That's what did you make? What did you make of this banger?
Yeah, he takes too many shots. He gets hit more than he hits guys. He's only 30.
Alex Morano beat him up, man.
His hair and facial hair. He's trying to do what Cody Garbrandt did. Try to hide the chin. Well, he has a good chin, unlike Cody Garbrandt, but, try to grow out the facial hair and get the long hair. I don't know. It's not working for him. He got hurt with an up kick. That's real bad if you get hurt with an up kick. So, Euros Medic, he's trying to squash that Alaskan regional scene curse. He's trying to squash it by himself. He looked really good, honestly, moving up. He's a big dude. He's a sniper. He's got a good boxing. And he honestly had – to get a finish in the third, his cardio looked good. I thought he was going to gas completely. I mean, he only has one finish outside. Only one fight has gone outside the first round. Is that Omar Morales fight where he finished him in the second. So, yeah, I mean, this is definitely a big step up for him. The doctor, the medic, if you will. But, yeah, good one for him. He didn't get 50K either, so bad night to be on the prelims, I guess.
Yeah, just strictly just getting disrespected by all of them, right? All of them were on the main card?
Yeah.
And it's not like those people were hurting for money necessarily compared to some of these other guys who probably were getting paid peanuts to get in there. But Miranda Maverick.
Peanuts.
Whoa, not that. Maybe, but how about an easy submission victory for our girl Miranda Maverick? Getting that inside the distance at plus 140. I hope Priscilla Cachoeira never gets cut. I'm just going to continually fade her and make money and keep moving, baby. But
she also got outstruck at distance by Miranda Maverick. It was close, and there wasn't really too much going on. Miranda Maverick's short, but she has long arms. And the takedowns were just so. I mean, I feel like you could take down Priscilla Cachoeira. You know what I mean?
I hope so.
And then she, beautiful transition to the arm bar. Quick work, baby. Miranda Maverick said, "I'm not done yet. Don't count me out yet."
Yeah. Okay. Let's just see you against somebody who's not Priscilla Cachoeira, and then we'll start counting you in or out. We'll decide then. But we didn't really talk about Wonder Boy and the Pereira fight getting called off, which I think Wonder Boy was 100% within his right to not accept that bullshit. That 100% is to that guy's advantage. And Wonder Boy at being 40, you really can't afford to be cut. I know you can't really afford to have your fight get canceled like that and stuff, but it's better than getting pieced up by a guy who has 5 pounds extra just on the weigh-ins, and who knows how much weight he's going to have by the time he gets in the octagon back. So yeah. It sucked to lose that fight. I was excited for it, but I don't blame Wonder Boy at all.
So that kind of sucks for One Boy not getting his money. He made weight. He's contractually obligated should be, to get money, but obviously the UFC doesn't care. And, it's a side conversation we could have. But, yeah, I don't blame him either fighting somebody who's, below him and pretty much blown up. No reason to fight him.
No.
I definitely wanted him to because I had him locked in. I thought he was winning that regardless, but what are you going to do?
Yeah. And I think the other big thing, obviously, there was that Bellator Rise and whatever nonsense that was going on with random guys getting slept and other guys getting put in late, and it was just all over the place. But Bud Crawford
got to win?
Yeah, Bud Crawford put the beats down on Errol Spence. And a lot of other people were very wrong about this. And it's not even that we were just very wrong. It's just nobody thought it was going to be a one-sided, just absolute beatdown the way it was. And it really was not even close from the beginning. I had it on the phone, watching it while the UFC was going on. And I just was like, it was at a certain point where after the second knockdown, it's like, okay, well, I don't really have to be paying attention to this anymore because this is over. And I mean, it just got worse and worse. The more I would see, I just kept seeing counters and him almost ending up like Bernard Hopkins through the ring. That's almost recreated one of my favorite moments. It was ugly. It was ugly from beginning to end. And I guess I'll just, you're the resident boxing connoisseur. I would ask you what your thoughts were.
Yeah, that was kind of heartbreaking as a Spence fan since, what was it, the 2012 Olympics. Seeing his whole career, he's pretty much run 147 his whole life. That's pretty much his division.
Get this guy some water.
I can't. I do have water right next to me, and I'm just not even drinking it. So that's always good. I'm trying to bring up the stats now because I'm sure they were just completely disgustingly one-sided.
Yeah, I mean, hey man, I'm not a numbers guy, but I just was watching it, and people were telling me like, "Nah, dude, you have no idea. Crawford's gonna beat his ass," and I was like, "Oh well." Okay.
I didn't think it would happen either. But, dude, he landed 42% of his jabs. Spence landed 11. Like, that right there shows you who won the fight. You don't need to see anything else. Like, the fact that Errol Spence got completely dominated in the jab department shows you everything you need to see. Power punches. 60% of Crawford's power punches landed. 60! That's insane, man. Errol Spence got outlanded by almost 100, and he threw almost 100 more. Percentage-wise, got outlanded total 50-20. He was not even competitive. I mean, he won the first round. In the second round, he was doing fine before he got knocked down. In the third round, he did okay, but after that, it was just not even close. It was a complete ass whooping, a complete beatdown. Probably the best performance we've seen in in boxing history. I can't really think of many other moments where there was a fight this big with two of the best in the world, and one of them just got absolutely beat down. Maybe when Roy Jones fought James Toney at 168, James Toney was the man there. Roy Jones was coming up. Roy Jones smoked him. Pernell Whitaker, when he fought Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. and got robbed of a win, beat the shit out of him. Mayweather, I guess, when Mayweather beat the shit out of Diego Corrales. One other moment. When Bernard Hopkins smoked Felix Trinidad. Like, that's it. This was one of the single best performances in boxing history. Terence Crawford showed up, backed up everything he's been talking for about 5-6 years, right? He came out with Eminem. He came out wearing on the back of his shirt or whatever you want to call it. It said, "Even big fish get fried," or "Even big fish get caught."
Jesus.
And he came out in a fishnet draped around his body. And, the whole week Spence looked like lifeless, people were saying. I really do think he's the car accident and still being at 147, that is not the same Errol Spence. And I don't really think we're ever going to see the same Errol Spence. Like, maybe he does better at 154, but if he wants to fight Crawford again, it's going to be wherever Crawford wants it, 154 or 147.
Why would he want to, though?
Well, yeah. Why would he want? Why, Crawford himself, I think, would fight Spence at 154 just so he can say that he did. He beat him in 2 different weight classes. He's the first man to ever unify the belts in 2 divisions. He did it at 140. Now he does it at 147, which is insane. First fighter to ever do it at welterweight ever. I think the only person to ever do it besides him was Clarissa Shields. I could be wrong. Either her or Alicia Baumgartner. I forget which one. But he now there's only 4 active undisputed champions. I think it's Devin Haney at 135, Crawford at 147, Jermell Charlo at 154, and Canelo at 168. So he made history in so many different ways. I mean, he took 5-6 years of talk and hype, all culminating in one night, and he shut that shit down. He absolutely walked over, stepped on Errol Spence at every step of the way. He was just so quick, too powerful, too slick, too sneaky. Dude, Terence Crawford is an orthodox fighter. He fought that entire fight as a southpaw.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not enough things to say about Terence Crawford. He looked absolutely marvelous. There was nothing Spence could do. I mean, he couldn't land anything. The only success he had was going to the body, and that even it didn't work because when he came in, when he lunged down to the body, he was getting caught with these short, quick uppercuts. That's how he got dropped in the second round. Short, quick uppercut, and anytime Spence got caught with a shot, he got caught clean, and he got caught off balance. He was not rolling with the shots. He was not taking them the right way. Derrick James wanted him, was pleading with him to get inside. And even when he got inside, it didn't matter, man. He was getting beat up everywhere. The jab wasn't working. The power punches weren't working. He looked slow. He looked very bleak defensively. He pretty much didn't have any defense, which is so crazy considering the fighter he's been his whole career. Just did not look like him at all. And Terence Crawford looked amazing. It was kind of crazy to watch. Really, I was very shocked. I was very shocked, and there was a who's who there in Salt Lake City for UFC fighters, but there was an absolute who's who gathering of all the great boxing minds. It was in Vegas, right?
Yes.
You had Floyd, you had Pacquiao, you had Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield. Keith Thurman was there talking shit to Boots Ennis' brother. I think Shakur Stevenson was there, maybe not. Sean Porter was there. Hopkins was there. Keith Thurman was there. I said that. Who's the other? Sean Porter. Ugas was there. I believe Danny Garcia was there. I think Garcia was there as well. Literally everywhere. The Charlos were there. I don't think Canelo was, but they were all out. I mean, it was one of the biggest, most anticipated fights, even though it was a couple years late, right? A couple years late for sure, but it wasn't like Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather when it was just boring and nothing really happened. This was just a beating, an absolute one-sided beating. Again, very comparable to Mayweather and Corrales, where Mayweather was the younger guy coming up to a weight class that was reigned by somebody else, and he beat the shit out of Diego Corrales. That ended in the 10th. This one ended in the 9th. Great stoppage by, I think it was Harvey Dock, or was it Michael Steele? I forget. I don't think Michael's his first name, but great stoppage because if he didn't do that, Spence was going to get dropped again, and he probably wasn't going to. It was going to be bad. He took a really bad beating.
Yeah, it looked like it.
His eye was fucked up from the 5th round on.
Yep.
After the fight, there was a post-fight interview inside the ring, but well after the crowd left, and he sounded terrible. He just sounded really bad, man. I don't know why he didn't get sent to the hospital. He got hit with so many headshots, clean, strong, powerful headshots that really, that was a fight that could change you as a fighter.
Yeah, for sure.
And it could be a little hyperbole, but I think he needs to take some time off. I think he needs to move up to 154. If Crawford wants to give him the benefit of fighting him again at 154, I guess you do it because it's a huge payday, and maybe you think you can do better up a weight class. But I don't think so, man. I think he might be done, which is so sad to say.
You sound like Stephen A. Stephen A. was on First Take calling for him to retire and saying that he doesn't want to see him fight anymore, or at the very least taking a long time, at least a year off, which you kind of just
that was
said.
just bad.
It was a bad beating, dude. It was.
And you can't have him fight somebody that's not on Terence Crawford's level or like, championship level. Like that's who Spence has to fight. That's, if he's fighting in co-mains, like we don't want to see Errol Spence take the Nonino Donaire approach. Nonino Donaire was on this main card and he got beat down badly. He's 40 years old and he fought Alejandro Santiago. Like so many people haven't heard of. And he got beat the fuck down badly. So, like, that's the last thing you want to see from Spence. He just really just looks so bad. Like, physically, mentally, emotionally, like, he just looked drained.
Yep.
Didn't want to. It was really sad, honestly. And then in the co-main, Isak Cruz, everybody was begging him to knock Giovanni Cabrera out. And that fight went the whole distance. He looked like shit. Bored us all to half to death. So we had to wait for this fight to get dragged out during the co-main of the UFC fight, which sucked. But
yeah, well, you seem to hate that main event much more than, or the co-main much more than I did. That shit.
Isak Cruz?
No, the the Pereira and Blachowicz.
It happened. I wanted. Yeah, I did.
I know what you're saying though. It happened right when you were trying to fucking.
Yeah, the timing sucked. It was just everything sucked. It kind of was a rough. I thought Pereira was going to lose. He didn't. Spence did, and it was a rough one.
The referee was Harvey Dock, by the way. I don't know.
Harvey Dock, that's what I thought. He stepped in at the perfect time. I mean, Spence didn't go down, but it
was over. Left. He was getting battered around. His head was getting ping ponged back and forth with these hooks.
His head was snapping back from jabs. It was just getting really bad.
His face was showing it. Like I tweeted that out, man. I was like uncomfortable watching it to a certain point where like once it got to like the 6th, 7th, 8th round, just dude, like I was calling for them, like just throw the towel in, dude. Like you're not gonna win. You could tell sometimes where a guy, maybe he has that miracle punch in him, or he's still in this fight. Like Spence knew this shit is over, man. There's no point in sitting here and taking more of a beatdown, like you said, when you don't know how much time you have left in boxing anyway. So you gotta, be smart about this, take care of yourself, and cash in on these last couple, events, because. I'm sure he got paid well for this, but
yeah,
he earned it because he got beat up pretty bad, and like you said, career altering to the point where you don't know if he'll ever be the same again.
Yep.
Do you have anything to say about the Bellator dual Ryzen cards that were going on this past week?
Just that Patricky Pitbull is now the better Pitbull brother, I guess. I don't know where that came from.
Random.
Mr. Horiguchi, that fight ended in like 20 seconds for a headbutt, so that sucks. What else? Anything else happened that I noticed? I'm trying to think.
Sabatello got guillotined.
That was awesome. Love seeing that. Fuck him. I guess Andrei Koreshkov and Lorenz Larkin had a great fight. I don't know if that was somebody that was kind of just being funny, but they said it was a really good fight that nobody really was watching.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Which makes sense. I don't know
Patricio
if I
got clapped up on that other event, dude.
Yeah, he that didn't go well for him against Chihiro Suzuki. I guess it was a scary kickboxer, and there's that 154, which I didn't know. I didn't know that was a thing.
They just do whatever they want over there, dude.
They pretty much do whatever. You show up and you're good. That's it. Tafik Musayev also was on this card, knocked some dude out pretty badly. So shout out to him for that.
Yeah, and that was the weekend of combat sports. We are going to have another show later on in the week where we got a Jake Paul, Nate Diaz fight to talk about. He's telling people not to buy it, which in classic Nate fashion doesn't want this clown to get any more money than he already is going to get. And I'm sure Nate already got paid, so it's he doesn't give a shit what happens with all this. But and then we have a UFC card next week. Am I wrong in that, or do we have a week?
We are
off?
in Nashville.
We are in Nashville. Who's the main event?
That's gonna be Sanhagen Font.
Sanhagen Font, which was supposed to be Sanhagen and Umar, which would have been much more exciting, I would say. But
we have Tatiana and Jessica Andrade in the co-main. It's very interesting.
Yeah, we're kind of back to those doo-doo mid-level cards.
All right, hey.
Come on, man. Just go down. Just scroll down. I mean, there's some fights, obviously, like there always are, but
I see a lot
I'm looking
of
at Dustin Jacoby and Kennedy Njoku in the
banger.
That is a banger. Diego Lopez and Gavin Tucker.
Banger.
You would label that a banger? Isn't that the guy who took? Okay, yeah. No, shout out. I'm gonna fade Gavin Tucker in that one. Tanner
Yep, we're taking
Bosa,
Diego
Alexa
Lopez.
Cammers on the main card. Come on.
Alexa Kammer, come on. A couple years off, he's back. Underdog, let's go.
Ignacio Bahamondes, though. Sign me up for him. Ludwig Klein. Wow.
Jeremiah Wells, he's going to put Carlson Harris out, I think. Billy Q and Damon Jackson, come on.
We're either going to
Jake
lose
Hadley?
a lot of money or we're going to make a lot of money this upcoming weekend.
A fellow from Kazakhstan, another Kazakhstan debutant. I know
Hello.
you're excited.
I am very excited about that, I guess. The Jake Paul Diaz fight I am excited about as well. Is that is Saturday night, right? Or is, you never know with these Jake Paul fights whether they're Saturday,
Sometimes
Sunday.
on Sundays.
Yeah, Amanda Serrano's fighting Heather Hardy on the undercard. Jeremy Stevens and Chris Avila. What? What? Jeremy Stevens is getting in there?
I guess he's. Didn't he make his debut against Aldo? It was like a draw.
I think so. He's 0-0 though.
0-0. So I guess it's
Majority draw. I don't know. Wouldn't that be a 1 on there? I don't know. Like maybe I don't know what
Heather
I'm talking about.
Heather the Heat Hardy.
She's gonna get beat up, right?
Yeah, I mean she was in Bellator once. She got absolutely smoked, and then she boxed Amanda Serrano, got smoked again. So, Ashton Sylvie, he's gonna be on this card. He is I think he's like 18 or 19. He signed with Jake Paul's promotion. He's very, very, very good. So I think they actually have something there in him. CJ Hamilton, I believe. Why does that name sound familiar? The Autobot. Yeah, he was in Bellator. He's boxing on this card. So we got a lot of stuff going on this card.
Well, let me just I'll let you know right now. I won't be seeing anything of those people that you just named, other than maybe the Ashton Sylvie one. It'll be as high up as I get on this card before I start maybe having the dual monitor situation going on. That's next Saturday. There's a lot going on next Saturday. I don't know. I'm gonna have to just be locked in on the Jake Paul fight, I guess. I don't know. There's Saturday nights. They're loading us up, man. This is too much.
This is not enough. We need more. We need one. We need BKFC. We need ONE FC. We need KSI and Tommy Fury. That's what we need. That just got announced.
Yeah, I saw that.
So August should be fun. We got Usyk is getting back in the ring finally. Anthony Joshua is getting back in the ring. Quick turnaround. He wants to be active at the very least. So that's fun to see. He's training with Spence. Hopefully Derrick James doesn't have a curse on him. Jared Big Baby Anderson's getting back in there. And then Canelo in September. So we shall see. What also Tyson Fury in October, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, Joshua's fighting soon. I know you were really fired up about that.
We're setting that up. We're setting up a Fury Joshua fight.
Yeah, it's. I'm gonna need a big fight announced, man. I need a big one to hold me over until this O'Malley and Sterling card. That's what the next big thing that I'm looking forward to. But
is that what you're waiting? I was gonna say, is that what you're waiting for?
Yeah, basically that's the next thing that I'm like big time excited about. I am curious about this Jake Paul. I think Jake Paul's probably gonna beat the brakes off him, and I'm not excited to say it. That's basically
Nate Diaz by disqualification.
That would be nice. Starts elbowing the shit out of him. Like, what? And then just chaos ensues, and people are just throwing weapons into the stands. And
Nick Diaz is
guillotine choking another Logan Paul lookalike. It's gonna descend into absolute anarchy. But
Jeff Neal eyeing Gary in Boston. Can't wait for that.
That I am excited about.
Austin Hubbard maybe stake his claim in the Ultimate Fighter finale. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, that was the most boring fight I've ever seen on the last week of Contender Series, or not Contender Series, the Ultimate Fighter. But that's it. That's all I have for the mixed martial arts world. I hope you join us this upcoming weekend to break down the events that are going to go down. We'll have to see if the problem child gets it done. I know he is the favorite, right? He's a minus 200 plus favorite, I think.
That's kind of crazy, but
I haven't seen it. But the last time I looked at it, he was. Let me try and see what we got here.
I'm excited for 292 though, and 93, 94, 95. I mean, whew.
Quick look on the way out. He's minus 430 now.
Jesus Christ! Wow. Do we have to take a shot on Nate just because?
Yeah.
Or I think I might bet that in the Jake Paul KO.
Yeah,
Because if
maybe
he
a
wins,
draw.
he's gonna have to beat it's -120. All right, I'm getting out of here. Well, I'm saving all this for that for the next show. But ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Shoulder Strikes MMA Podcast, and as always,
You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box.